Hi everyone, let me add Zariel real quick.
Okay, we'll just wait for her to join. Hello.
Yay! We did it.
It worked.
I love it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Altar Within Part 1 live. We're going to go ahead and start with intro. So, I am Azul, pronouns they, them. I am a somatic practitioner and death worker, and I'm very excited to talk about altars. I love creating altars, I love talking about them, so I look forward to sharing more with y'all today and engaging in conversation. And I let Sariel introduce herself.
Hello, I am Zariel. I'm a registered dietitian. I'm freshly into South Carolina. And I work in the space of helping folks heal from dieting and have a healthy relationship with food. And part of that is like developing your spiritual practice and what that looks like in reality. So I'm super excited to talk about altars and how they've been a part of my healing journey and how I wish we could all have altars all the time.
Yes, I forgot to mention where I'm located. I am currently in San Diego, California, Kumeyaay Land. Yes, let's go ahead and start with the questions. The first one is, what is an altar to us? For me, an altar is a space, a physical space where I can express an intention or honor something. Um, I currently have like a couple altars in my home. I have an ancestral one, I have a community one, and I have one for myself. So I feel like the intention is different for all of them, but it's, yeah, the same basis of having a physical representation of something that exists like in my heart and my mind and that I want to put out there and see and tend to regularly. Yeah, that's what it represents to me.
I love that. And I resonate with that. I want to say this pretty much similar, like the altar or the way I've used altars is a space to kind of find refuge in moments where I either feel overwhelmed or joyful or just any emotion. Having a space, I don't know what a space is. Having a space where I can just be like, this is where I can anchor in and just be and be in receiving of what it is that I need to hear, feel, let go of, create, any of these things. I typically have, like you're saying, multiple altars. I have an ancestor's altar and my altar. I have not built my altar since we moved still. I just have the ancestors one that has like a lower shelf, so I sit there too. But and I want to do a community one in the outside space, so
Hmm.
that's like my goal after I do mine one.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that I hope you could get to it soon. I know sometimes when I've been like in transition spaces that I don't have my altars, I'm like, where do I go
Yeah,
to? Where does this energy go to?
literally.
Yeah. But I feel like I also want to like share that like altars can also be like anywhere, like in nature. I know I've been in nature and then I'm just sitting down and I find a couple sticks and rocks and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make like a little altar. Or sometimes I carry around like, let me show you, like just like a cloth like these to
Hmm.
make like a mobile altar. That's like something that I can just use like moment of and then pack it up and put it away. So as we share about our own concept of altars, um, yeah, I feel like I want to acknowledge that an altar can be whatever feels resonant for you. I know there's altars that honor the elements and follow certain like guidelines based on your culture, based if you're indigenous and based on your tribe. So that's also very, very valid. But also I feel like there can also be like creativity put into it and using your intuition to create your own.
Hmm. Yeah, when we were traveling, because we did the road trip to get here, I had like a little container-ish, more like a Ziploc bag. Oh, like a pouch like this,
See?
but clear,
Hmm.
filled with like altar things so that I
Nice.
could in every like space like get grounded essentially for the night as we were staying there. So yeah, definitely can be whatever you need it to be.
Yes, I feel that too. ¿Qué más? And just touching on the, yeah, like the subject of getting comfortable with the ideas of altars and understanding it. Um, yeah, I feel like just allowing yourself to honor, like I said, if there's certain like guidelines or rules based on your culture or a part of a group that you're in, but also even within that, like, is there room for like for you to create something that resonates for you based on your intention, based on how you're feeling, and yeah, just becoming more comfortable with that idea of creating something like that because I feel like for a lot of us, our ancestors used to do that, and I feel like it's such a beautiful practice to be passed on, to be reconnecting to. I know for
Hmm.
like myself and my family, I'm probably the first one in a while to create altars. So even that. And I know in the beginning for me, it was a little uncomfortable to be like, oh, I don't want to do it wrong. I don't want to like forget about it. And like now my ancestors are going to be mad at me or something like that, right? But I feel like as time has gone by and I've continued in this practice, there's, yeah, more of a sense of comfort and confidence. Um, yeah, so I wanted to speak on that too.
Yeah, that perfectionism definitely was present in my journey of understanding how to build an altar, especially because so much of it was having to figure out on my own. Because similar to you, I'm like the only one in the family that does that. And even in getting comfortable talking about it with family and friends, it's like, what are you doing? And que no venga ni demonio, nada así. Like,
Yeah.
there's very much fear based around it. So learning what it meant for me and learning to not let the perfectionism be the guiding force, instead embodying what it is that I want to be feeling and doing to have some ease and kind of like have fun with it in a sense, especially when you're like finding things to put on the altar or things you want to, like if we're talking about like making meals and stuff for your altar, it allows for more flexibility to build that relationship as opposed to this is the things that I have to do, and if I don't do it, I'm terrible. Because
Yeah.
we don't know because we didn't have that guidance on how to do it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And I, at least for me, like when I connect to my ancestor altar, when I connect to my ancestors in general, I set the intention to connect to the ones that are loving, patient, kind, are protective of me. So I wouldn't connect to any ancestor that's like, oh, you haven't put a meal or a treat or something in the altar, there's gonna be bad things. You know, like I wouldn't do that. So even like within that, you can have your own boundaries, your own intentions, and the
Mm-hmm.
ways that you connect. Of course, like I still want to have like a reciprocal relationship with them. Like they guide me and teach me and help me so much that I do. I feel like have strengthen that practice of like, oh, I'm at the store, I'm at the grocery store, let me see what they feel like me getting, or I'm outside, let me see if I can get them a little flower for my walk, or even for myself and like my own altar that I have for myself. Like if I see a crystal, again, a flower or something, but it's like I'm not gonna get mad at my own self, my own spirit's not gonna get mad at itself for not putting a little offering. I feel like I like to go about it with a sense of like compassion as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, that's needed.
Okay. And then we want to talk about the concept of treating yourself with care, tending to something and turning it over to yourself. Um, yeah, I think just talking about that compassion and that care as well. And yeah, um, I feel like when we center care, even if we make what we would think is a mistake, there's more of oh, okay, I'll learn from this, like with a more compassionate approach, like, oh yeah, I didn't clean my altar for a month and things felt a little funky, let me learn from this, instead of like, I'm a horrible person, I'm a horrible descendant, or like it doesn't have to be like that shame attached to it. Just like it could be a learning opportunity, like centering that care. Do you want to share anything about this?
The way that you're speaking about it is the same way that I speak to my clients when it comes to anything as it relates to like having a healthy relationship with food. And
Mm-hmm.
I like to always remind folks like curiosity, like if I didn't take care of my altar, if I didn't eat vegetables in this meal, like what happened and how can I troubleshoot so I don't do it as often or I find a better solution for that. I just made a video on YouTube about like think I said cheers to failing. I don't remember what I titled it, but like failure is an opportunity to learn, but we've been taught that failure is just bad and there's nothing there and we do such a disservice when we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to kind of learn from the things that we were not successful with so that we can be successful in the things that are truly important to us and um as it pertains to the altar and yourself, like what
Mm-hmm.
actually is important when you're taking care of your altar and how can I make that the most simplest way possible so that I'm able to keep up with it, honor myself, the values and intentions that I have. But failing is so key and getting comfortable with it, so having that curiosity piece, that compassion piece, so that it's not a negative relationship. It's just a part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, when you're sharing that, I feel warm inside because I feel like that's the approach that I like to have with myself and also the people that I hold space for. Again, I'm a somatic practitioner, and a lot of what I do is helping people tune into their bodies, express their emotions, and even like honor their body cues too. And some of that includes eating, going to the restroom, just all those things that I feel like sometimes because of society or because of trauma, we might have gotten disconnected from our bodies. But yeah, it's
Mhm.
the same. Like if you did like a little breathing one day and your intention was to do it every day, that one day that you did it forever helps. It's not like it gets canceled and that, like care that you provided to yourself gets deleted or disappears. And it's like the same with the altars. If you remember to do it one day, that's forever like an experience that you exchange with the spirit or the intention that you're trying to honor. And from there you can also, yeah, like you said, like troubleshoot and see like, okay, am I making it like too hard on myself? Is there like a easier version of this that feels more doable? But yeah, always centering that compassion and care.
Mhm. Yeah, easy mode is gonna get you there way faster than
Yeah.
hard mode.
See. Yeah. And as you're saying that, I feel like, I don't know, like I'm thinking of when I started like creating altars, and I feel like at this point it's 6 years. So before that, my concept of altars was very much based on like the Catholic Church version of altars, because I grew up Catholic. I don't practice that religion anymore, but that's what I saw. And I saw like very specific people tending to the altar. It was like the priest, it was like the people who helped, and they were wearing like a certain attire, right? It wasn't just anybody that could go up there and like, oh, I want to add like a little pebble I found. Like it wasn't anything like that. So to me, it was also like level very hard in my mind. Like,
Mhm.
no, this is supposed to be like a sacred thing, and it is, but even within that, it's like, yeah, sacredness can also meet you with where you're at, and can also meet you as a human, like in your PJs or like wherever. Like you can definitely dress up, like if you want to tend to your altar, but also like, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I have a chill version of altars and connection to spirits now, because I realized that, oh, it's not that, it doesn't have to be that hard or that like separated. I feel like as a death worker, I commune with spirits so much now that's like, oh, it's like a friend coming over, or I'm inviting like this friend for a chat. Like it doesn't have to be like a whole like thing that's made very difficult. But yeah, I understand if any of y'all are in that space where it feels like too difficult or too like holy or something to touch. Like you can move through that with practice and make it like a living part of your life and your days.
Hmm. I love that. Yeah. It's definitely, and I totally forgot about altars in church. I used to be that person that lighted the candles. I don't remember what it was called. But it doesn't have to be, while you were thinking, made me think of like pristine and like
That,
perfection. Like it doesn't have to be that way, though. If that is something that resonates with you
yeah,
and it brings you joy and fills you up, then you should follow that. But
same.
I know for me that doesn't, like I'm thinking of um like the when I was learning how to make altars, it was having a white cloth, and the table that I used for my altar and a white cloth did not like it every time that I was doing it. And finally, I found this like doily that I got from either my mom or an estate sale, I can't remember. And that brought it all together in a way that felt authentic to me. So even if we are like striving for the pristine look, what don't forget to like bring yourself into it essentially, because
Hmm.
it's your altar. Like you're the one
Yeah,
that's going to be taking care of it.
yeah, for sure. Just gonna look at our little outline. Yeah, I feel like we talked about centering care, letting go of perfectionism, all or nothing thinking. Um, and then also focusing on the interception between tending to our ancestor altar and tending to ourselves. So for me, it actually started with a self-love altar. My very first altar was so small and cute. Again, it was like 6 years ago, and it was around the time that I was getting divorced. So I feel like I needed all the love towards myself, the love in general that I could get. And I remember going to a shop here in San Diego. It's not a shop anymore, but it's still like a movement. It's called Brujitas del Barrio. Shout out to
Hmm.
Angelana. I remember going there and there was a self-love candle, and then there was actually this cloth that I've
Love
had.
it.
Yes. And I got myself some flowers and I think a rose quartz crystal. And that was like my first altar. And yeah, I had it like I still lived with my ex at the time, but we weren't like together anymore. But I had it next to my bed, so it was like a reminder of like you gotta keep going, you gotta see this through. Because I feel like there was a part of me that was like, no, I'm not supposed to get divorced. I'm supposed to like stay with this man. Like, no. And like again, like you wouldn't think that an altar would like do that for you, but it did for me. Like it was that impactful to get a visual of my intention of leaving and doing what I truly knew I had to do. And it was right there. And I would tend to it. I would change the flowers every week. I would write myself like cartitas, like little love notes towards myself. So that was actually my first altar. And I know for some people it starts with the ancestor altar and then maybe others, but for me it was like the the self-love one. And then in transition to ancestor altar, I set my first one up that same year during the fall. And I got pictures of my ancestors, my loved ones who had passed recently. And it was really beautiful. So I feel like I've always had two. The community one is new, but it was always like one for myself and one for the ancestors.
I love that. I love that. I started like others with the ancestor. For our wedding, we had an altar set up. So I had pictures of all of the relatives that were not alive anymore and
Mm.
having them all set up really fun. It was really fun shopping for all the frames and getting their cute
Mm-hmm.
pictures and everything. So after that, I kept some of the photos. Obviously, like people wanted to take photos of their family member
Mm-hmm.
home, but the ones that they didn't take, I got to keep. And in my first home with my husband, our first studio apartment, which was a journey, there is where I put some of those. And specifically, it's always going to have, if everybody knows me and my story, my Titi Almin is always going to be with me wherever we go. My other aunt actually is right here. She's in the other room looking at pictures of Titi Almin because I
Mm.
inherited all the albums. Um, so Titi Almin's been in every altar. Number one person gets put on the altar, number one person gets packed. And I kind of started there. And then I don't know what year, but I read The Medicine Bag. I never finished that book, and I don't know if I ever will, but it's like a book that I pick up from time to time to like
Hmm.
reference, but I've never like read it cover to cover. And in there, they talked about different altars outside of that. And I'm like, wait a minute, you could do this for like yourself.
Yeah.
So learning that, I was then got this cute little table that I got when I lived in Laredo, and it has little hearts on the side, and it's the cutest thing. And I made myself like a little tiny space to kind of pull my cards, do my journaling, cry, pray, um practice presentations with, like anything I need to do, it was in this altar that I do. And then in my other altars where I kind of have it outside, that was also a thing. I don't know how it was for you, but like in learning how to make altars, did you feel like it had to be a private thing that no one can look at? I felt that way for a long time.
I
I
felt,
still do.
yeah. Yeah. I remember, I think it was on TikTok that somebody posted a video of an altar, and this was like so many years ago, and I don't remember who. And a bunch of comments were like, "You're not supposed to post your altar." Da, 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 da. And I was like, "Oh." And I feel like that guided like my nobody's supposed to see it, like, oh no. And then at some point I meditated with my ancestors, and they were like, "It's literally up to you, and like you can ask us if we feel okay with like you sharing the ancestor altar." And for years, it's yours, so it's up to you. And I was like, oh. So even then, it was like a whole thing where like another like person's perceptions, I guess, guided like how I saw it. And I do understand where they're coming from, where like if somebody has
Hmm.
ill intent and they see it, like they could wish that. But I don't know, I have so many protections that I feel like even if they attempted anything like that, I'm like, and it's like I share it too much, but like when I do feel like sharing, it's like it's because I've asked myself, I asked my
Hmm.
ancestors, it's protected, it's meant to be shared. It's meant to be like oh, maybe this will help others like create their own, or it will create, yeah, plant a seed.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think there was some of that. Now, yeah, I feel like it's just that. Like if I share, it will be with intention, but I don't feel like it's like absolutely forbidden to share it anymore.
Yeah, that feeling still creeps up for me. So when we were setting up the ancestor altar when we moved here, my family was all here, and I'm like, I don't want you guys to see it. But we set it up, and it was fine, and it did lead to some curiosity on my mother. Like she asked some
Mhm.
questions about it, but it wasn't as scary as I thought it was gonna be, having it
Yeah.
out in the open that way.
See, see. I guess it could be like a vulnerable thing, right? Like they
Hmm.
might not know what everything represents, but you know your intentions, right? You know your
Hmm.
intentions about um your altars. So if it's something like very intimate, very personal, and they're seeing it, I could see how that's like a little like um but yeah, I think it depends. I know I don't let people touch things, that's for sure, unless like I give them permission. I feel like for me that's like a something I learned right away, that you don't touch other people's art altars unless given permission, or unless you created it together. Have you heard about that, or do you practice that yourself? Or how do you feel about it?
I've not heard that, and I wouldn't typically have people that close to be
Hmm.
touching. It only got very recently that I've taken my altars out of
Yeah.
like my room. Like even you're reminding me of in Laredo, we had moved the altar into like the entrance for Dia de los Muertos because my husband
Hmm.
was very like, let's bring it outside. And we had like maintenance or something come over, and they like commented on the altar. And I was like, yeah, well, we don't really keep it out here. Like it really just stays in the room, but we're just doing this for now.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't have, no one would have even had the opportunity to touch it. Although my friend came over in our older apartment, her little son was touching it, but we were just like, he didn't know what he was doing. So
Right.
we
A
guided
child's
him.
different.
But
See.
adults, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like people I have over, they I don't think I've had anybody touch it. I know like when I have like dog sitters, like pet sitters, I put her like on the dock, like do not touch anything on the altar. And I just hope they respect it, but I'm like, just in case they don't know. Because I'm like, I don't know. I don't think my ancestors would do anything like, I don't know, like mean, but they might be like, who are
Who
you?
are you? Like, why are you touching my stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah, and
How
then,
does
oh, tell me.
sorry, I just thought of one question now.
See.
How do you like do offerings, specifically food? Like, what's your relationship with food on the altar? And
Mm,
how does that come for you and things like that?
see. I feel like for me, it feels easy to do snacks. Like if I'm making myself popcorn, like I'll give him popcorn. Um, if I'm eating fruit, I'll give him fruit. I feel like it's rare when it's like a whole meal, that I put on the altar. I don't know why it's always been like that. I guess unless it's like Dia de los Muertos or something, I might prepare like a meal. I think because I have dogs, and even though they don't,
Mm.
I don't think they will get on it. Um, it just feels weird to like leave it there, I think, for a long time because the popcorn I might leave it for like a day, or the fruit I might leave it for like a little longer, but I don't know why a meal feels like I don't want to leave it there for too long. Like there could be like little fruit flies or something. So that's what feels like the easiest for me. Or like if I go to the store and I'm getting myself a little treat, I get them a little treat too. Sometimes it's like random, like I said, like I'll just intuitively choose something. Or I also know for like the ancestors that I did know, like my two grandmas, I knew what type of snacks they like, so I might get them something like that. But in general, yeah, I try to do it intuitively too. What about for you?
Um, Two things. One, I watched a TikTok years ago about like if you haven't fed your ancestors in a minute and you like remember while you're preparing your dish to like separate them on your plate and just like leave it like this is for you. I'm not gonna touch this. It's just on your
Mm,
plate.
mm-hmm.
And I do that sometimes when I'm like, oh, I haven't like done nothing in a minute. They
Yeah.
probably want something. And then when it comes, the other thing is I will sometimes like have a craving for a dish that I do not eat. Like never eat that, never even think to eat that. And that's kind of a signal for me, like maybe they want that. So
Yeah.
then I'll cook like a nice elaborate meal and then I'll set it up for them really cute and stuff. And then for holidays, not holidays, birthdays, typically Titi Alming, sorry everybody else, but typically Titi Alming, I'll make something for her birthday that I know she would like and cook it. And then yeah, other
Hmm.
holidays like traditional foods or holiday foods that I know they enjoy. I'm always going to put that on there.
Yeah.
Recently, we made mango with los tres golpes for the first time in the apartment.
Hmm.
And the first time in years because they don't sell salchichon in the part of Texas that we were in. And we left it overnight like we always do. In the morning, the plate was empty. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like, and my husband's like, oh, I thought the ancestors ate it. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking? And
That's
then we
sweet.
see
The
that
belief.
it was like, yes, thank you, but no. And it was tuna had flipped the plate over and
Oh,
was trying to eat it. So now we have to worry about that for the first time ever.
exactly.
I'm like, he, he was like, they really enjoyed it, huh? I'm
That's so
like,
sweet.
no, they didn't.
The strong faith and belief, like, yeah, this is a thing, and then the food just disappeared. I feel like that has happened with water, and I know like water evaporates, or when I have put like a little tequila shot, even
Mm,
if it's like the water evaporating or whatever, I like to think like, oh, they took it because it goes down. I think with
yeah,
liquids, it's easier to notice that. But
coffee.
yeah, like I also like sometimes give them like I feel like there's always water, and I just change it, but yeah, sometimes other types of drinks. And
We do
also,
little
mande?
cafecitos.
Cafecitos, I don't drink coffee,
They
but
do, and my
maybe
husband
they
does.
would enjoy coffee. I don't even know how to make it. But maybe they're talking through you and asking me for coffee. It's
Okay, yeah,
like
maybe.
they're like, we haven't gotten our caffeine in
In
years.
ages.
Ay, Dios. Okay, I'll make them some coffee. I'll ask my partner how to make it. They know. Yeah. But aside from food and drinks, I also like to offer them prayers, playing
Hmm.
my drums, songs, bailes, yeah, just like movement dancing. Um, yeah, even like poems, writing them poems. So I feel like
Oh, that's sweet.
that's also something I wanted to share, that it doesn't just have to be like edible things. It can also be like creations that you make. I know when I make my art, I usually put it in the altar first, and I feel like it feels like when you were little and you show like your family like, oh, I made this, and they put it on the fridge. Like I do
Hmm.
that first, and it's like, look what I made. And I like to think that they look at it and they bless it, and then I just put it wherever I'm gonna put it. So that's also a practice that I have.
That's really sweet. I'm gonna try
See,
that.
yeah.
Definitely singing and dancing for sure. Sometimes I'll do on Apple Music, like shuffle three
Hmm.
times what song you want to hear,
Mm,
and then we'll dance to that song or sing it if I know it. Um, and writing, yeah, like spending time. I have a journal dedicated to that, and I'll just like write with them or write what I want to
mm,
say.
that's
Um,
sweet.
but the art piece is cute.
See, would you see your journal as like an extension of the altar or altar itself?
I guess for that specific journal, yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just for that.
Yeah.
Nothing else goes in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything can be an altar, really, if I
Hmm.
feel like if you
It's
add
like the
that
intention.
intention. Mm-hmm. If you
Jinx.
add that intention to it and you tend to it, you commune with it, like it can be an altar. Um, yeah. And then transition into making room for ourselves in our altar and our lives. Um, and I feel like this practice of creating altars, tending to them, has taught me about devotion. And again, since I have altars to myself, it has taught me to be devoted to my own supported practices. I feel like it's just like that energy that it carries, whether I'm devoting time to the ancestor one, the community one, or myself. It's like, yeah, that practice of like, okay, this is an ongoing intention, belief that I have, and I want to continue to add to it. Um, and I feel like I said, like that energy like transfers back to like my own self, and I feel like we are extensions of our ancestors, at least the way I see it. We're like living, breathing pieces of them that are still here alive on Earth. Um, yeah, so I feel like as an extension of an ancestors, I also see tending to ourselves as tending to them, tending to the wisdom that they shared with us, whether they shared it when they were alive or whether they share with us through dreams, messages, synchronicities, is that like, yeah, the extension of them, and using our energy and our life force that we still have to express that whatever they may have shared with us, because our ancestors don't just share generational trauma, they have also shared love, wisdom, medicine, skills, many beautiful things. So yeah, I see it like connected, tending to myself, tending to the ancestors. Like I am the ancestors, they're me. So it's like one thing.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Beautifully said. While you were speaking, it made me think of when I do my sadhanas, and I do my sadhanas for the most part in front of the altar, unless it's like really nice outside, then I'll do it outside. And I feel my best self when I'm tending to both. Like if I'm
Mm,
sitting at the altar and tending to myself, then my best self is easier to come forward because I'm like watering that soil
hmm.
on a more consistent basis. So that gives me the reminder of like why I'm doing this in the first place,
Yeah.
and support in tapping back in when I do tap back in if I've tapped out. So yeah, everything triple times what you said, because you said it already.
Just connected. Yeah. I even thinking of like when I serve them water, like I'll be like, "Oh, have I drank water?" And then sometimes it turns into like watering everything. I was
Literally.
like, "Have I watered the plants?" And it's just like the same energy. Like I said, like that's like an energy of devotion, and it's like I'm watering this. I gotta water myself. I gotta water the plants. The animals, do the animals have water? So I feel like it's just like that energy of tending to something transfers to a lot of things in your
Hmm.
life once it's present. Yeah, that's why I feel so passionate about talking about altars and yeah, just sharing about how we feel about it. So hopefully people can try it out, and if it's something that's supportive to you, you can keep at it. If it's not, that's also okay, but at least offering it as here's this thing that a lot of people do that could also potentially help you, and you can find your way to create it and to tend to it too.
Yes, and if you want help, we're going to be doing our workshop
Yes.
on how to build an altar and some other really fun exercises that we'll be doing together. But
Yes.
yeah, an altar is a beautiful practice to include in the way that you take care of yourself.
That was a smooth
Mhm.
transition. Yes. So we're gonna be having our workshop, which is gonna be part two of this Alter Within series on October 30th, 4 p.m. Pacific time and 7 p.m. Eastern time. So yes. We just like talked about it today, but in the workshop we'll be able to engage more in conversation with each other and just see like our own perceptions of altars. Again, making room for ourselves in the altars or whatever intention you have. I will be sharing like a somatic meditation to connect to our bodies, connect to our emotions, and yeah, just to see what desire there is to create altars, what ideas, what creativity comes up. And then do you want to share about what you'll be sharing as a practice as well?
I will be doing journaling.
Yes.
Okay, let me open up. I will be journaling is one of my favorite things to do. So if I'm gonna try to convince someone to let me journal, I'm gonna do it. So I'm glad that that is what I said. I'm
Yes.
gonna be guiding folks through a journaling exercise to get comfortable and flesh out like what the idea of a practice looks like and how to build your own altar and what those things could mean to you. The questions are still pending in my head. They usually come to me through meditation while I'm outside. But that and then we'll also be building an altar together at during the workshop too. So that'll be fun. You can bring your things to build one together and we can like share what we put on or what we're learning from our altar, whatever.
Yeah. It sounds so exciting. I've never done like a workshop like this where it's so interactive, so I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like even if we create our own individual altars, since we're doing it together, like to me that sounds like very powerful. Like a lot of energy and intentions together in
Mhm.
one time, one place.
Which we
Um,
need so much.
hmm Yeah. Yeah, I feel that too. Pues creo que es todo. Do you have anything else you want to share?
I'm just so
Any
grateful we got to
conclusion?
do this.
Me too. Or maybe we can see if anybody has any questions. Feel free
I
to
can't
let us know.
see nothing on my
Any
side.
questions or comments? I don't think so. Okay, well, I hope y'all can join us again, October 30th, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. You can go to either of our links in bio
Oh,
to
look,
register.
I did see
Yes.
something. Can you speak a little bit about what alter care looks like? Yeah, we, it looks like, to recap a little bit of what we were saying, it looks like whatever it looks like for you. Uh, and I'm not trying to be facetious about it. But it could, the basics rather, what I want to say is like we want to make sure that it's clean. We want to make sure that your offerings are there, whatever your offerings are like, and that you're building the relationship with your altar in the way that feels most authentic to you. But if I'm gonna follow any rule, is that make sure that it's clean. Your schedule of cleaning depends on you. Like ideally, I want to be that every Sunday girl, but I'm not that every Sunday girl, but maybe one day I will be. But you don't want a dusty, like you as an ancestor don't want to be in a dusty altar, I wouldn't think. So like how would you want to feel if you were in that position of taking care of it? And then whatever kind of like what as we was saying, like whatever
Hmm.
intuitively comes up for you in terms of carrying it, caring for it is what I would say. And then I learned, which is not like a super big rule, but like the candle that we turn on, to not like blow it out like that. I learned to like snuff it out, because if we're picturing, this is how it was taught to me, but if we're picturing like everyone sitting at a table and then you just come up and go at their candle, they're like, excuse me, we're right here sitting here. So like snuff it. Does that mean that I do that every time? No. There's sometimes we're like, I'm sorry guys, I don't know where the thing is, gotta go, and I
Yeah.
turn it off. But the intentionality, I think, is what's most important on top of semi-cleanliness.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting that you share that because I've heard both. I've heard how, like, if you use your own breath, it's almost even adding more intention to it because you're using your like
Oh.
life force to it. So again, it's one of those things that's like for some people it's very set, like, no, you're supposed to use something to turn it off. And for others it's like, no, that could be an opportunity to even add more intention. So I feel like that's what my intention is in sharing the somatic practices during our workshop, to like really feel like what do I feel is best, and that's what's going to be best. Because when it comes to like, yeah, like spirituality, veneration, like I feel like one person could say this is 100% wrong and another person could say this is 100% right. So between that, like there's us. There's like that
Hmm.
altar within. There's like that, the body, the mind, the spirit, and like following what feels right for you. And if you see something else and that happens to resonate for you, it doesn't mean that you were wrong. It just means like, oh, I have new information. Let me like update it in my system and now I'll do it this way because I want to. So thank you for that question. And I see another one. What do you do with the food when you're done the day after you set it out for the ancestors? Do you give it back to the land? Yes, yes, and different answers. So I have like a little compost bin that I put in a freezer, and sometimes I put it back there. Sometimes, if it's like popcorn and it's a snack, I do this thing where it's like, or like a little candy. I do this thing where like I like to pretend that they're giving it to me now after it's been, I think I leave it for like a whole day. And then I'm like, oh, thanks, grandma, for this like candy. And then I eat it myself. That I know for some people, again, that's like, no, you're not supposed to eat it. And for others, like it's like chill. So it again depends on what you feel is gonna be right for you. What do you feel is feels more resonant for you, Sadiel?
I learned that absolutely not. We do not eat the food, so that's so cute that you said that. Even like there's candy in the wrappers that have moved, and I'm like, nobody can touch that candy.
Yeah.
But we leave the food till it gets like dry. That's how I know that they've like
Mm.
enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And then I just throw it out. If it's like a food that can be outside, like it's gonna decompose
Mhm.
pretty okay, I'll put it like by a tree. But mostly I just throw it in the trash and then throw that trash out.
Mm.
Like
Mhm.
it's not a day or whatever, like that's
Yeah.
garbage. Because that's like,
Mhm.
or I see it as energy that's already done. Like we don't need to
See.
keep it in the house any longer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we're talking about this. See, there's so many ways to do it, and as long as it feels right, respectful for you, like that's what matters.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I don't see any other questions, but thank you everybody for joining and communicating with us. Oh, there's a sweet comment from La Mira Mitotera. No questions, but just want to say I am so grateful for y'all and all you do for our communities. Thank you so
Oh, thank
much.
you.
You are
Yay.
all welcome. Again, hope to see you on the workshop, but if not, thanks for joining this. Do we feel okay with closing now?
Yeah, I'm so
See?
glad that we did this.
Me too. Okay, we'll see y'all soon. Bye.